The hardest part about becoming an artist is not what you think. Now, I wrote this essay on my Substack, and you can check it out in the link below. Don't forget to follow me there. Hit that like and subscribe here on YouTube, and hit that hype button or send me a gift. Your support for these videos is greatly appreciated. Now, there's a very famous quote by Pablo Picasso, and he said, "My mother said to me, if you are a soldier, you will become a general. If you are a monk, you will become the Pope. Instead, I was a painter and I became Picasso." I thought that was very powerful, and I wanted to open up with that quote because I often meditate on how I became an artist. And it's not a profession for the faint at heart. It's a roller coaster of success and failures, and one day you're up and the next day you're down. There are seasons of feast and famine, and there is no paved road or straight pathway of making it. Everyone, and I mean everyone finds their own path, and no two roads are identical. It's a winding road up a towering mountain with many surprises and pitfalls along the way. And I've learned quite a few lessons on this journey, and every now and then I get asked a certain question. And until recently, I didn't fully understand the best way to answer it. When an aspiring creative asks, "What's the hardest part about being an artist?" I used to refer to things such as unpredictability, demand for creative output, and organizations and business skills. These were areas I've always struggled with, but the more I grew in my creative practice, I realized they weren't my core reasons for being an artist. In other words, even if I mastered these skills, it still wouldn't account for what drives me to make art. Now, I'm not saying that these areas aren't difficult, because most working artists reading this would agree about these pain points. However, deeper reflection around this question has led me to a different answer, and I feel it's true for all creative disciplines. So, what's the hard part about being an artist? What's the hardest part? I believe it's learning how to become yourself. Think about it. You learn art by being taught by other artists and by studying their work. You mimic their work, their style, and their techniques. And you learn your craft because someone said, "Do it like this." You practice what you're taught and apply the lessons learned through continuous trial and error. And then you become a continuation of your teacher. And if you're fortunate, you'll develop a distinction in your work and eventually a style. Now, this helps you break away from your influences and gives you a unique voice, an expression that can only be attributed to you. This is where you become you. And this is what Pablo Picasso meant in the quote in the opening of this essay. He became a painter, but he became great by becoming himself. This was the core of his success. Picasso was not an overnight success. He was very skilled in his training, and it was rigorous under the demands of experts with excellent standards in the field. And what's interesting about his work with Cubism is that it was initially rejected. His work was considered shocking, and some critics calling his work grotesque and a monstrosity to the standards of beauty of that time. Now, Picasso could have easily listened to those critics and abandoned his visions, and thankfully, he persisted. The urge to become himself was greater than the objection of the crowd. And in this life of being an artist, this is the greatest challenge you'll face. Sometimes it takes a lifetime to come to that revelation. Even Picasso, with all the skill and mastery of his craft, confessed it took him a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child. Imagine that. A master painter trained under the rigorous artistic academics produced his greatest work by being childlike. It makes me think of the scripture in Luke chapter 10, verse 1, where Christ thanks Yahweh, the Father, for hiding his knowledge from the learned and the so-called educated, and from those who profess themselves wise, and revealing his secrets to little children. If you stay with your art long enough, you'll begin to hear that call to become you. And if you obey that call, something special happens. You realize the real you is not the adult you became, but the child you left behind. And when this happens, work becomes play, and play becomes your work. You won't be concerned about the outcome because the process becomes the most important thing. And once this takes place, possibilities become endless. And slowly, that adult wagging its finger telling you to be careful slowly loses its grip on you. And just like that, you become alive to the part of you that is the truest self. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process you must commit to. You'll have internal battles for sure, but don't quit. The child in you is more resilient and resourceful than your logical mind wants to give it credit for. You may feel strange and even silly while slipping back into your childlike persona. Good. The more awkward it feels, the better. Allow yourself to transform your mind into that childlike state and ease into your creative flow. Now, you will initially recognize the feeling. It all comes back to you instantly. There's no need to ask for permission, no need for validation, and definitely no second guessing. This is the nature of creating like a child. All motives become mute, and you are driven by pure enjoyment. And this is where you find the real you. It's not in a paycheck, prestige, or status. It's in the love for what you do. We don't like to admit the fact that we often become what's expected of us. Through life, responsibilities and circumstances beyond our control, we fall in line with someone else's expectations and not who we truly are. This chokes out our dreams and slowly kills them all. There are creatives who practice art, but not their dream. Talented creatives who have security, but not the fulfillment in their work. And it's not their fault. Sometimes they must make the hard choice to play it safe in order to survive. And I understand. I get it. It's life and we all have to live, but you don't have to abandon your inner child. Allow him or her out once in a while to have expression. You will feel alive, and you owe it to yourself to feel like a child, even if you have responsibilities waiting for you. I'm older and just a little bit wiser now, but I believe the greatest achievement an artist can obtain is not riches or fame. These are worthless if you do not have the spirit of Yahweh's joy within you. For as it is written, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, but lose his soul? Do not lose that part of you that brings you joy. Hold on to it with all your strength and exercise your power to feel free as often as you can. I hope that this video helps somebody. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share, and don't forget to subscribe. Again, you can check out the link in the Substack and read it there. Follow me there, and also send me like and comments on my Substack as well. So I love you all. Get out there, create something, and I will talk to you all again soon. Yahweh.